Minasan, konnichiwa. Watashi wa Bengoshi no Guruda Minoza Tomoshimasu. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the first forum of the Kyushu University in the country entitled Kyudai-fied Philippines. I am Attorney Golda Minoza, and I'm a graduate of the Kyushu University Faculty of Law. It's my honor today to serve as your host. I will be joined later by my co-host during the research sessions. So our program this afternoon from 1:30 to 5:30 p.m. is organized into 4 parts: an opening session, 2 research presentation sessions, and a closing session. This will be followed by a dinner reception this evening from 6:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. So to formally open today's forum, may I respectfully invite Professor Shimizu Shuji, Vice President of Kyushu University, to deliver the welcome remarks.
So thank you, Golda-san, for the introduction. And hello, everybody. I'm so happy to welcome you here for the Kyudai Now today, here in Manila, the Philippines. Special thanks to the 2 honorary guests, His Excellency Ambassador Endo Kazuya, the Ambassador of Japan to the Philippines, and also Professor Jimenez Angelo, the President of University of the Philippines, but today they're represented by Joel Marciano. Because this is the very, very first time for us to have this Kyudai Now here in the Philippines, I think I have to give you some explanations what the Kyudai Now is. So I don't know how many people here can understand the meaning of Kyudai Now. So Kyudai is actually the short name for Kyushu University in Japanese. So Kyudai Now, it means the Kyushu University Now. So that means that we'd like to give you the lots of informations about our university, by giving you the presentations from the updated research issues. And the origin of this event is to try to enhance the network and relationship with our alumni people in other countries. So because we have had over 10 associations of Kyushu University alumni abroad, we started this program actually 4 years ago. The first in Indonesia, followed by Thailand and Vietnam and Malaysia, Singapore, what else? And Bangladesh, India, Mongol, Egypt, and Turkey. And also we did it in Taiwan and Korea. So, and also, yes. So we have had this over 10 countries and regions so far. And I'm so happy again that we could make it true to have organized this in the Philippines. And the one characteristics of this program is that usually this kind of forum or symposium is that focused on one topic, like energy issue or medicine or well-being or environment or food or something like that. But in this particular program, we'd like to give you the research about variety of field. So if you can see the program, we have a presentation about the engineering, design, and also the medicine and agriculture, variety of things. And also at the end of this program, we invite a Filipino scholar who studied in Japan, the Kyushu University, and she will talk about her experience, life in Japan. So I really want you to find new things, you didn't know or before, but there must be a lot of interesting things you can have in this program. Well, yes. So I do hope that this program will be a good chance for you or a milestone for you to know more about Kyushu University, as well as to have more and more interactions with the academic institutions in Japan. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Shimizu, for setting the tone for today's forum, and of course for your leadership in strengthening Kyushu University's international engagement. He was just in Thailand last week for a similar event. So before we proceed, I'd like to acknowledge the presence of the Dean of the UP College of Law, Dean Gwen Gresha de Vera. Ma'am, thank you very much for coming. So today, it is my distinct honor to welcome two esteemed guests who have graciously accepted our invitation. Allow me first to introduce the first one. We are deeply honored to have with us His Excellency Ambassador Endo Kazuya, Ambassador of Japan to the Philippines. May we invite His Excellency to share his opening remarks.
Thank you very much for a kind introduction. Professor Joel Marciano, Vice President, University of the Philippines. Professor Shimizu Shuji, Vice President, Kyushu University. Distinguished guests and friends, esteemed Kyushu University alumni. Konnichiwa. Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. It's a real pleasure to join you all for this Kyudai Now forum. I'm most honored to be here for its first session in this important country. Kyushu University is very close to my heart, as one of my uncles is a graduate of the Kyushu University, and my nephew wants to study in Kyushu University, though I'm not sure whether he is going to pass the entrance exam in the coming years. And I appreciate the efforts of Kyushu University to establish Kyudai Now as a platform dedicated to sharing the university's latest academic findings, fostering broader networks and collaborations for studies across various fields. This year presents us with the most fortunate timing for this gathering. As some of you might know, 2026 this year marks the 70th anniversary of the friendship between the Philippines and Japan, a milestone crowned with the theme, Weaving the Future Together, Peace, prosperity possibilities. As this is the logo for the 70th anniversary, and you can see it on the right side corner as well. And in this tapestry of friendship, education has served as one of its enduring threads for so many years through its Young Leaders Program. Japan has opened some of its top universities to the budding leaders of its partner countries. Here in the Philippines, the UP College of Law has been tirelessly bridging Filipino promising youths to such opportunities as you have done in the past. And mixed scholarships have helped broaden educational horizons for promising UP and other Filipino students for decades. Such exchanges have woven both innovation and unity into our decades-long friendship. With its culture of excellence, I believe Kyushu University can further expand the fabric of our nation's shared ambitions. As we were discussing, one of the university's famous alumni, Dr. Koichi Wakata, distinguished himself as both an astronaut and engineer. His expertise led him to become the first ever Japanese commander of the International Space Station. Another famous alumnus, Ms. Junko Tabei, became the first woman to reach the summit of Mount Everest. Closer to home, Dr. Rodney Perez garnered impressive achievements with his career in science. In 2021, he became the first Filipino to win the Young Asian Biotechnologist Prize, an award given by the Society for Biotechnology, Japan. At present, I understand that Dr. Perez is working at UP Los Baños, serving as an esteemed program leader and expert. Another exemplar, Dr. Aimé Garon, serves the National Museum of the Philippines Archaeology Division as a senior researcher. A seasoned archaeologist, she has written a comprehensive book on the diet of ancient Filipino. Together with a Japanese expert, they are currently preserving an ancient shell midden site in Lalao, Cagayan. Their efforts are sure to be welcome for the culture and tourism of the community. Whether space or mountaintops, past or present, no frontier is out of reach for Kyudai mind, backed by a legacy of excellence. I trust Filipino alumni can be a true force for progress. At a time of global uncertainty, shared knowledge will provide us with steadier footing amid shifting landscapes. For this, I thank the Kyushu University's Institute for Oceanic and Asian Studies for organizing today's event. Likewise, I would like to congratulate the Manila Kyudai-fied group on their recognition ceremony last November. I'm confident that the ties of Kyudai's Filipino alumni will flourish under your care. I find it both a happy coincidence and a bit of confusion that Kyudai is just one letter away from Kyodai. Kyodai means siblings in Japanese language. And this Kyudai-kai is meant to be the association to be a brotherhood, sisterhood are uniting with each other among the alumni. But actually, Kyodai also means Kyoto University. So, but it's a bit, but it just goes to show you instead of all. You can make all the difference in this family of excellence. And I thank our attendees and speakers once again for being a part of this historic forum. Even with our 70 years of friendship, it is heartening to see we have still some room for more fruitful firsts. Mula Fukuoka hanggang Manila, sama-sama natin isulong ang kaalaman at pagkakaibigan. Arigatou gozaimasu. Maraming salamat po. Thank you very much.
Arigatou gozaimasu. Your Excellency, thank you for deepening our understanding of the nickname that we've adopted for our association. I'm one of the founding members of the Kyushu University Alumni Association in the Philippines. And we adopted that name for the siblings meaning and not the Kyoto University meaning. But thank you for enlightening us. And thank you also for deepening our knowledge of our Kyudai heritage. The information that you shared a while ago were things that made me personally appreciate our Kyudai legacy. Thank you very much, Your Excellency. So for this second part of our opening remarks, President Jimenez has an urgent matter to attend before the Senate. So on behalf of him, Vice President Joel Marciano, Vice President, UP Vice President for Research and Innovation, will be delivering his opening remarks. Vice President.
Thank you very much for that introduction. May I address His Excellency Ambassador Endo Kazuya, Vice President Shimizu Shuji of Kyushu University, distinguished professors and scholars from Kyushu University, colleagues, students, faculty, and staff from the University of the Philippines, ladies and gentlemen, minasan konnichiwa. Maayong hapon kaninyong tanan, a pleasant afternoon to you all. Now, as mentioned earlier, President Angelo Jimenez would have loved to be here this afternoon. However, he is now serving as a resource person at the Senate currently, so he had asked me to deliver this message on his behalf, which I will do shortly. But before that, I wish to personally thank Professor Shimizu for bringing the Kyudai team here. Professor Shimizu and I have known each other for some time. In my past job at the Department of Science and Technology, he is a telemedicine expert who has not only pushed academic boundaries, but also operationalized a lot of this know-how on telemedicine with our hospitals and our doctors, no less, across the Philippines. So thank you for bringing your team here. And of course, to Ambassador Endo Kazuya, who is a stalwart of the support for Philippines-Japan cooperation, especially in another previous job that I have before coming back to the university as head of the Philippine Space Agency. You had mentioned astronaut Koichi Wakata, one of the famous alumnus of Kyushu University, who also is quite a frequent, well, maybe relatively frequent visitor to the Philippines. He had been here at least twice, in 2016, and then last year in November in Cebu for the Asia-Pacific Regional Space Agency Forum. So on that's my personal anecdotes. Now I proceed now, with your indulgence, to read the message of President Angelo Jimenez. Ladies and gentlemen, it is an honor and pleasure for the University of the Philippines to welcome Kyudai now to Manila and to host this international forum for the first time in the Philippines. To our friends from Kyushu University, Yokoso, welcome. We are honored that you have brought this important global conversation to UP. Through Kyudai Now, the Philippines now becomes part of Kyushu University's expanding international human network, spanning Asia and beyond. More than a series of forums, this initiative reflects something we in UP understand well, that universities thrive when knowledge is shared openly, when dialogue crosses borders, and when partnerships are built patiently over time. We live in an age where online meetings are efficient, and I say this as someone who uses them often. But both Filipinos and Japanese know that there is still something deeply meaningful about meeting in person. Kao o awasite hanasu. To speak face to face allows trust to grow. It is where stories are exchanged, where intent is clarified, and where relationships begin to take root. Sometimes all it takes is a conversation, a shared table, or a sincere handshake. This year, 2026, marks the 70th anniversary of Philippine-Japanese friendship. Holding Kyudai Now in Manila at the very start of this anniversary year feels especially fitting. It reminds us that the relationship between our two countries has matured into one grounded in mutual respect, cooperation, and shared commitment to education and innovation. As the National University of the Philippines, UP is mandated to serve the Filipino people while remaining deeply engaged with the global community. Our charter calls on us to lead not by standing apart, but by building partnerships that strengthen higher education, research, and public service across the country and beyond. In a world shaped by rapid change, whether in engineering, medicine, agriculture, design, or the sciences, no institution can move forward alone. Collaboration is not simply beneficial, it is essential. Through partnerships like this one with Kyushu University, we expand opportunities for faculty and student exchange, interdisciplinary research, and joint responses to shared challenges such as climate change, disaster risk reduction, digital transformation, and inclusive development. Of course, we all know that visions and frameworks are easier to articulate than to implement. But every meaningful collaboration begins with the first step. Today's forum is one such step, small perhaps, but full of promise. As we say in Japanese, koko kara desu. This is where it begins. By opening new avenues for cooperation, we give our students, researchers, faculty members, and staff the chance to learn beyond disciplinary and geographic boundaries. In doing so, we affirm that while our universities are rooted in our respective societies, our sense of responsibility extends to the wider world. Together, let us continue to learn from one another, to share knowledge generously, and to work toward a future that is more resilient, more equitable, and more humane. With deep appreciation and warm friendship, I welcome Kyushu University to the University of the Philippines. So that's the end of the message of the President. May I just add that some of the Japanese that you see there is because President Angelo Jimenez did spend some time in Tokyo, Japan, and thus his familiarity to some extent with Nihongo in Japanese language. So on that note, arigato gozaimasu. Daghang salamat kaninyong tanan. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice President Marciano. Thank you, President Jimenez. Clearly, the ties are deeper and stronger, not only between our two countries, but our people, professionally and personally. So, before we proceed, Professor Shimizu would like to present a small token of appreciation from Kyushu University to our honored guests. May we invite His Excellency Ambassador Endo to the stage.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Mami Wakabayashi. I'm a coordinator of this group and this event. I'm very honored to have this opportunity. Today, I would like to talk about the overview of our university. But let me briefly introduce myself too. As I said, my name is Mami, and my background is medicine and nursing. And my specialty is global health. I'm focused on the health system, how to improve the health system, especially low middle income country, including the Philippines. And the Philippines is actually very special country for me because the first my visit to the Philippines inspired me to my research topic, health disparity. Unfortunately, there you can see some of the health disparity in the Philippines, but I am very willing to how to reduce the health disparity in the Philippines. That is my research topic. And I had a very great opportunity in the working experience in my field. I work in the International Development Assistant, working with JICA, Japan International Cooperation Agency. And also I work in the university, Nagoya University, as an assistant professor. And also I work in the private company. As we know, that Deloitte is one of the world-known consulting company as a global health specialist. And also, I work in the UNICEF previously, and I work in the children's vaccination program. So, and now my institution, I am an associate professor, and I am in charge of the collaboration research, not only for my research field, but also we need to making the innovative opportunity for Kyushu University. So therefore, I would like to introduce our university overview. So this is just a brief introduction, and the overview of the Kyushu University is a lot of information. So in the reception, we have a brochure, and if you want to explore our university, please take it. And also we will have scholarship information or anything, so please look at during the coffee break. And you can see the photo. This is the main campus. We call the Ito campus. This Ito campus is actually the largest campus on land in Japan. So it's a lot of entire, I can say the village, but of course the UP also very big, huge campus. But like UP, Ito campus has a dormitory library. It's a large library in Japan, and the cafeteria, gym, and pool, and the on-campus health clinic center, and there is a lot of convenience store. So if you arrive in this forum earlier, as you can see the video, and that video was created by the very talented international student. So they are enjoying their own campus life in this Ito campus mainly. But as you saw, not only for Ito campus, we have 3 other campus: hospital campus, and Ohashi campus, and the Tsukushi campus. And luckily, you have each campus delegate is here. I mean, the presenter from each campus. So you can also ask to the environment of each campus too. So these 4 campus we included, and you can enjoy different principle of the study. For example, for undergraduate, we have 12 schools, and the 3 of them offer the English course. It means that you can graduate only for the English without Japanese. And the 19 graduate schools, and all of them are provided the English course. So without the Japanese, you can get the master's degree or a PhD course. So that is one of the advantages in our university. Of course, you might need some survival Japanese to live in Japan, but it is more easier for accessible for the international student to get the degree in Japan. And the location, geographically, the Kyushu University is located in the Kyushu Island, and the Kyushu Island is located in the southern part of Japan. But actually, from Manila to the Fukuoka, we have a direct flight, so we can go to the very directly. And the Fukuoka is one of the top 5 largest city in Japan. So you can enjoy the city life in Japan. At the same time, Fukuoka has a very uniqueness of the nature. So as you can see on the map, it's close to the bay, close to the sea. So you can enjoy the sea, and at the same time, there's a mountainous area. So both you can enjoy the city life, at the same time, a lot of nature surrounded by the campus. So this is just a picture of the image of the Fukuoka city and the area. And traditionally, they have a lot of Japanese festival and the culture things. You can enjoy it. About the international students, we are accepting the more than 100 country and region. So many students you can meet in Kyushu University. And in total number of the students is more than 80,000 in total, including the Japanese people. But of course, there are so many international students, and nearly 40% of the students are international students, and we would like to more. So it's very great opportunity for you to have this opportunity. And our strengths, of course, we had 19 schools, so you can find many of the opportunities which you want to study. But our strength point of the research field is medicine, and also the biochemistry, or the engineering, and material science, and physics, autonomy. These kind of things has a lot of publication. So that is one of our strengths. So to know about what kind of research is ongoing in our university, so Kyudai Now is a kind of a on-site event. So we will provide the information face-to-face, and also we would like to interact with each other. But not only for the on-site event, we also providing the research seminar every week. Every Wednesday, we have a seminar. We call the brown bag seminar. So every Wednesday, we will have a seminar, and this is online seminar. So and also the English translation. So from even overseas, you can enjoy the variety of the research topic to listen and explore the more, enhance your knowledge, or to learn more about the recent topic. So you can look at this kind of online seminar in our website. So usually in our website, we will place the next brown bag seminar, and as well as you can see the Kyudai Now. So your group photo on our website like this. So now we are doing the Kyudai Now Manila, and we will have more opportunity in different countries. But also we try to not only conducting the event. would like to have a more opportunity to meet yourself and to ask into the more collaboration with among the researcher and also the not only academic research. We would like to have to solve the real problem in the society. So I would like to have a more connection between the academia and also the industrial area and also the governmental sector. So to cooperate with together, we can find the more solution. So like this, I am a specialist of the global health. So if you had any of the interest about in my field, you can of course ask me any kind of question. But if you had an interest about the study in Japan, of course you can ask me, and I can connect to the international department, so you will know about the more Japan. And hopefully you can enjoy a lot of activity in Japan. We have not only for the undergraduate and the graduate school, we also have a short course for the semester or exchange student, or maybe we are accepting the JICA training, and so you can have a lot of the opportunity to study in Kyushu University. This is a very brief introduction, but I hope you can get some of the information and to have a more curious. And today we have a presentation from the alumni who got the degree in Japan, and she will talk about her journey, how that the experience will influence her career. So I'm also looking forward to listen to her presentation, and also I'm looking forward to listen to the excellent our researcher to have a wonderful presentation. Thank you.
May I invite Professor Ito Kazuhide to deliver his presentation entitled In Silico Modeling Initiated One Health Research. So Professor Ito, please.
Thank you very much for your very kind introduction. My name is Kazuhide Ito from Faculty of Engineering Sciences, Kyushu University. And I believe I'm a representative of Chikushi campus, Kyushu University today. It is a great honor to be one of the speakers at this Kyudai Now Forum held in Manila, Philippines. Here, I would like to introduce some of the results from the in silico modeling initiated One Health research that our research team is now working on. Especially, I will introduce in silico model of animals and humans designed for application to CFD, computational fluid dynamics-based environmental analysis. In case of the conventional health and medical studies, for example, chemical exposure and virus infection via airborne transmission, in vivo and in vitro methods are usually applied. I'm a bit hesitating to say in front of Professor Shimizu, a medical doctor, in Japan, more than 4 million mice are traded on the market and used for in vivo experiment every year. More than 4 million mice. As is well known, the in vivo and in vitro approaches have very rigorous restrictions on their implementation from the point of medical ethics and animal protection. And in vivo testing on animals is unavoidable, but the number of animals to be sacrificed should be reduced by using an alternative method. In contrast, I believe in silico approach, that is numerical simulation on computer chip, is expected to be a promising technique to replace or complement in vivo and in vitro studies. I will now introduce 2 very simple examples of in silico model concerning rhinoplasty surgery for bulldog and airborne transmission indoors. First, let me explain about a very preliminary application example. This is French bulldog. He has upper airway abnormalities specific to black cephalic dogs, having a relatively broad, short skull, such as bulldog and pug. The center of this slide is the nostril, but unfortunately, the external opening part of this nostril seems to be closed, and it seems no enough opening space for breathing. That is why this French bulldog, is breathing with difficulty. This congenital disease is named as external nostril stenosis regarding brachycephalic dogs. The general medical treatment for this external nostril stenosis is a surgical procedure called rhinoplasty. And this is the photo. This photo shows the appearance after rhinoplasty, and definitely the open area of the nostril seems to be enlarging. However, unfortunately, we cannot ask directly this dog about the improvements effect of this surgery, such as can you breathe smoothly compared to breathing previous state. But animal doctors are also anxious about this improvements effects. What are the differences between before and after rhinoplasty in terms of breathing function? By using numerical technique broadly defined in Silico approach, we can discuss the improvements effects of surgical treatment quantitatively. This is a numerical upper airway model of patient French bulldog, and the other is also numerical upper airway model after rhinoplasty. And both models were created based on computer tomography data. And here we present the results of computational fluid dynamics analysis using a numerical upper airway model to estimate pressure drop within the airway. Pressure drop means the resistance of airflow. The pressure drop in the upper airway section was estimated to be 109 Pascal in case of before surgery, and this value became 102 Pascal after surgery based on the numerical technique. And by comparing the results with pressure drop calculations on healthy bulldog upper airway model, it is possible to quantitatively discuss the effectiveness of the rhinoplasty surgery. And this slide shows an example of making an in silico model of bulldogs with and without obstruction of the upper airways. In general, the pressure drop in the upper airway of dogs will be less than 10 Pascal, and for bulldog with respiratory problems, the pressure drop in the upper airway still exceed 100 Pascal in this case. Unfortunately, our numerical study using in silico model revealed rhinoplasty surgery, in this case, did not significantly improve respiration function for bulldog. In silico method can definitely elucidate and reveal the performance of the surgery. In addition, this in silico method allows detailed numerical examination as a virtual surgery before an actual surgery. If the objective function of optimization is pressure drop, it is possible to identify the appropriate surgical range using an in silico model before actual surgery. Secondly, I would like to present example of developing in silico human model integrated with environmental analysis technique. You may remember the COVID-19 pandemic. The difficulty in controlling the pandemic due to airborne transmission, such as SARS-CoV-2, was due to the invisibility of virus movements in indoor environments. Computational fluid and particle dynamics analysis incorporating in silico human model has a high affinity with visualization techniques. Here, I would like to introduce the results of the visualization of the airborne transmission by droplet in indoor environments for the 4 issues shown on the slide. Modeling of the generation and examination, acceleration mechanisms of virus-related droplet, and transfer mechanism in indoor environments. And 3 is the development of bioregulation models, and 4th is the implementation for indoor environmental design. And this is the in silico respiratory tract model for airborne transmission and respiratory infection analysis. And this airway model reproduced the structure of the nasal and oral cavities to the 16th bronchial bifurcation in detail. This model is created using the computer tomography data. The middle figures show the results of the calculating particle deposition efficiencies in the upper airway and lower airways using these in silico airway models. And deposition efficiency of particles in the respiratory tract as a function of particle diameter shows U-shaped patterns, indicating that particle ranging from 0.1 micrometer to 1 micrometer do not deposit in the airway and are transported deeper into the lung. This means the smaller particles are not always transported deeper into the lung. And as shown in the figures on the right, integrating in silico models into computational fluid and particle dynamics analysis enables the analysis of heterogeneous particle deposition distributions within the airways and identification of hot spot of particle deposition in respiratory tract. And these are the results of a numerical analysis of droplet nuclei formation in the numerical airway associated with coughing. Here, we conducted a seamless coupled analysis of mucus flow analysis on epithelial tissue and airflow analysis in the airways, analysis of droplet formation from mucus, and analysis of particle movements in the airways. And this is simply called as integrated in silico analysis using CFPD and Eulerian wall film model. And in this analysis, the mucus film on the airway surface peels, detached, separates off due to the frictional stress and producing droplet particles. Please take a look at the pie chart in the center of the slide. The majority of droplet particle generated in the airway reattach to the airway walls, and only 6.8% of all generated particles in airway are emitted from the oral cavity to the indoor environment. And 84.2% of the exhaled particles originate in the oral cavity, particularly from film on the tooth surfaces. This integrated in silico analysis reasonably reproduce the results of human volunteer experiment on droplet generation. This slide shows the series of demonstrative numerical analysis concerning the virus-laden droplet dispersion in indoor environments and particle inhalation and subsequent deposition onto the tissue surfaces of respiratory tract. These are the animations of Lagrangian virus-laden droplet dispersion analysis in case of the worst-case scenario in which the cough directly reaches the face of an infected naive target subject. In analysis, where only the timing of inhalation differs, only 2-second difference, and all other boundary conditions are matched perfectly, the transfer probability results are 3.6% and 5.6% respectively. And these results in differences of more than 1.5-fold in predicted exposure concentrations. The airborne transmission at close range is very sensitive, and to quantitatively conduct and visualize such experiment, the application of in silico models will likely be the only viable approach. By continuously analyzing the indoor environment and the respiratory tract, it is possible to predict the deposition distributions of inhaled virus-laden droplet within the airways. Virus deposited within the airway begin to replicate in the epithelial tissue layer. The virus infection dynamics can be described by its very simple ordinary differential equations shown here. This is generally called host cell dynamics model, or BID model. In addition to the mucous flow analysis on the epithelium tissue surfaces, the evolution of virus load rise V and was calculated by coupling the target cell-limited model with the convection and diffusion terms. At the same time variation of susceptible target cells large T and infected cell large I were calculated respectively. Here, model parameters in each equation, such as infection rate beta, were fitted using nonlinear mixed effect model for the clinical data from human challenge, shown in the figures on the right-hand side of this slide. These figures illustrate for a more intuitive view of the SARS-CoV-2 virus replication dynamics. Here, this concentration means the RNA copies per milliliter in the nasal cavity nasopharynx region using hostile dynamics model. The left figure shows the simulation results for virus-laden droplet depositions in upper airway and mucous flow on epithelial tissue surface, serving as the initial boundary conditions for hostile dynamics model analysis. The animation in the center of this slide showed changes in virus concentration distributions in the upper airway for 20 days after the deposition of virus-laden droplet on the mucous surface. By applying a coupled CFPD, computational fluid and particle dynamics, and hostile dynamics analysis, it can provide temporal changes in viral concentration in upper airway that can be directly compared with PCR test results. As shown in the figure on the right, the results of the present analysis reproduce the in vivo human challenge results with reasonable accuracy. The quantitative visualization of spatio-temporal distributions, which are generally difficult to evaluate experimentally, is an advantage of in silico models. By applying in silico models, it is possible to predict infection dynamics in the lower respiratory tract, which are generally difficult to observe in vivo approach. In the lower respiratory tract, mucous transport flows from the bronchi to the pharynx, from the bottom to the top, and then the viral load distributions corresponding to this mucous flow direction can be confirmed. By simultaneously coupling the analysis of virus infection dynamics, hostile dynamics analysis, and the airway and analysis of droplet production derived from coughing events, Eulerian wall film analysis, the viral concentration RNA copies per milliliter in each droplet can be predicted. This slide shows the demonstrative analysis of integrated analysis of computational fluid dynamics and particle dynamics and hostile dynamics and Eulerian wall film modeling in airway, assuming coughing events. The center of this slide shows the viral density distributions in the mucous layer and quantitative viral density in the stripped droplet derived from coughing. As shown in the right figures, the distribution of viral concentration in the airway changed significantly in response to the days elapsed since the onset of infection, confirming the virus concentration in droplet varies significantly even when coughing under exactly same conditions. There are also examples of in silico modeling initiated indoor environmental analysis. The animation on the left shows the transient and heterogeneous distribution of carbon dioxide concentration in an enclosed space resulting from human exhalation. Integrating a gas exchange model into in silico human model allows for detailed analysis of indoor carbon dioxide concentration distributions derived from humans. The animations on the right show the results of the droplet particle dispersion analysis and the various ventilation systems. By changing the ventilation system, the airflow distribution formed in the room changes, and the dispersion characteristics of exhaled droplet also change. As a result, the size of the number of particles inhaled through the nostril into the respiratory tract, as well as their deposition pattern within the airways, also change significantly. Integrating in silico human model into indoor environmental analysis framework enables advanced occupant-centric environmental design. Professor Barbara Horwitz, a cardiac surgeon and evolutionary biologist from the United States, succinctly point out the problem with studying animals and humans separately by saying, what do you call a veterinarian who sees only one species? It's a physician, medical doctors for only human. I believe she emphasizes the importance of promoting simultaneously human-focused research and animal-focused research as one health research concept. In general, exposure tests on laboratory animals are conducted to identify model parameters for physiological pharmacokinetic models. The data from this experiment are then used to extrapolate to human models. This is center of this slide. This is an example of the results of analyzing infection dynamics using in silico models of the human and monkey upper airways, simultaneously developing three-dimensional, realistic in silico models of humans and laboratory animals, larger than simplified mesh system models, significantly refine the accuracy of extrapolating model parameters based on arithmetic scaling laws. One Health is an integrated, unifying approach that aims to sustainably balance and optimize the health of people, animals, and environmental ecosystems. We believe the simultaneously developing in silico human and animal models based on advanced integration with environmental analysis technologies will contribute to advancing One Health research. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Ito. We now open the floor for any questions from our audience. Kindly raise your hand and our ushers will go to you so that you can ask your question to Professor Ito. Anyone?
Konnichiwa, Sensei.
Konnichiwa.
My question is, you said earlier that it is important not only to study human, but also animals in general. So my question is, were there any discoveries while studying the human airway that helped your study in other, like animal airways, for example, and vice versa? Maybe it helped our airways as well.
Thank you very much. Very important question. Now we are struggling to find a relationship between humans and animals to creating the two models at the same time. And now we are finding a very important point. One is mucous flow on the surface of epithelial tissue for human and for monkey. It's a very key parameter to establish arithmetic scaling laws. And this is why this is achieved because we created two models at the same time. Maybe future we can report more important information for you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Ken. He's my former student, and now he's a professor at a University of Philippines.
Hi, Sensei. Maybe my question here is, are there any data, for example, as soon as you did that, how many animals did Japan save for experiments? I mean, did they save millions of animals because of your research?
Oh, very difficult to say the quantitative number, but I believe in case maybe a lot of experiment to secure the statistical significance in terms of statistics, and maybe by using the in silico model, we can reduce the some in vivo experimental case because the in silico model has no restrictions for ethical point of view, and we can conduct the sensitivity analysis easily. Therefore, in order to secure some significant differences, maybe in silico model will support for the in vivo experimental approach. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the interesting presentation. So my question here is that this is actually for the first time to hear the word in silico for me, but I think this is very helpful for the medical research or animal research as well. So my question here is, can you think of this model applicable other than respiratory system? I mean the other organs, or not necessarily your research, but do you know the other groups who apply this kind of research area to other field research in medicine?
Oh, yes, thank you very much for your very important question. I believe the in silico model has very big potential to not replace, complement the experiment for other organs, not only respiratory tract, but also the other organs. And one of the important objective of our team is to develop whole body PBPK model, physiologically based pharmacokinetic model. And respiratory tract is one of the input, first input region. And after that, contaminants, pollutants is transported into the deeper side in the human body and dissolved into the blood. And blood flow is circulated or whole body and distribute the contaminant into each organs. And we would like to model all of this transportation and accumulation and clearance of each organs. And then, at least I would like to say in silico modeling has a potential, but still it's a research stage. And I'm very sorry, I cannot say concrete answers. Yes.
Blood system should be next candidate, maybe.
Yes, in terms of the fluid dynamics point of view, yes, my background is the computational fluid dynamics, and then blood flow is easy, relatively easy to apply.
Do we have any other questions?
Hello, Sensei. So my question is,
Thank you very much.
Do you do, in your study, do you also do model validation? And if so, how do you do the validation?
Oh, it's a very critical question. Every time our group try to submit a good journal, our research to submit good journal, reviewers asked us the validation. Okay, and in order to validate our in silico model, we need to conduct in vivo experiment, and then yes, it's a really contradict, but we need to validate by using in vivo and in vitro experimental data. Unfortunately, yes. But I would like to say our objective is to minimizing the number of in vivo experiment, in vitro experiment.
So how do you determine the accuracy of your model if it's what really happens in reality?
Oh, for example, now we are trying to analyze the SVOC, semi-volatile organic compound exposure via respiratory tract. In this case, we have a lot of data of urine concentration. Okay, therefore, we construct the whole body PBPK model and check the dose and compare with the urine concentration of SVOC. This is a not direct but indirect validation procedure. Yes, very limited human challenge data. validation is a very critical question. Thank you very much.
I guess we have time for one more question from the audience. If I may, Professor, I have a question. How do you envision your study to be applicable to in hospitals, especially in terms of people who are hard of swallowing or have dysphagia, since it involves the human airway, and that could be a good model for us to make more models that are non-invasive to the human body.
Sorry, may I ask again your question? Sorry, I could not catch. Sorry.
How do you see your study being applied in hospitals, especially in people who are hard of swallowing? Since I'm a graduate of speech pathology, so we usually do invasive methods to see how the human body or the airway of humans do, or how them in action. So how would your study be able to help us promote lesser invasive methods of studying the human airway?
Okay, thank you very much for your question. For application to a real human body, real human subject, it's really, really hard for us because of the ethical, restrictions. Therefore, today I show the example for targeting dogs. In case of the animals, it's relatively easy to apply. And by using our technique, we can conduct the virtual surgery before the actual surgery. This might be a one example for the application of real world. Yes.
Anyone else?
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Ito, for sharing your work and engaging with our questions. Our final presentation in this session addresses material performance and durability in atmospheric environments. May I now invite Associate Professor Yang Muye to present evaluation of galvanic corrosion between carbon fibers and steel in atmospheric environments. The floor is yours, Professor Yang, and let's give her a warm round of applause.
Hello everyone, my name is Muye Yang. Actually, previous to present, professors, they introduced their research about human beings and human beings' life and related activities. Actually, my research, my objective is has a kind of life much longer than human beings, which is infrastructures. So today I will introduce something about steel infrastructures, and also one of the important topic is corrosion. Yeah, so title as shown here is Evaluation of Galvanic Corrosion between Carbon Fibers and Steel in Atmospheric Environments. Let's go. So before talk about a detailed research, so I want to do a self-introduction. So actually, I lived in Kyudai, Fukuoka, one third of my life. Yeah. So actually, I get my PhD there, and I worked there for quite a long time, and I really enjoyed my life and work and my life there. Yeah, so you can see right now, this is the office. So actually, Kyudai Ito campus is located on a mountain, mountain, and it's our engineering building. It's West 2 building, and my office in 11th floor, so it has a great view. And actually, it's not very far away from the, just 50 meters away from our students' laboratory. So actually, students' laboratory, the window, you can see the sea view. It's a great view, yeah. And actually, right now, my two words. My major is about 2 words. One is steel structure engineering, and the one is maintenance engineering. Yeah. So you can see in this slide, yeah, because traditional research is like in civil engineering is like the structure mechanics. Yeah. So actually, this stage is my master and PhD stage, and I did kind of research using the traditional structure mechanics, especially my PhD period. I focused on the fracture mechanics. I do some field works and do some experimental related to the fatigue cracks in orthotropic steel discs. And after I get my PhD, then I feel like, okay, I want to learn something new. Then in infrastructures, in steel structures, so there are so many different kind of problems that related to the maintenance. So maintenance, because the deterioration happened, coating happened, and material deterioration happened, and sometimes we need to do the localized treatment, or we need to do renew, right? Yeah. So I start to learn something new. So I need to learn material approach to do analysis, and also I that time, because Japan has a very long coastline, yeah. So corrosion is a big problem that I have to do something about electric country to figure out the corrosion issues. Yeah. So if you wanna ask me, so what is my research originality? I wanna say I really wanna do something mesoscale science, but based on the engineering perspective. Yeah. And also, actually, I also do design. My laboratory is a structure design laboratory, but design is different from your imagination. So actually, it's for durability design. Yeah, and also some cleaner materials. So let's see this figure. So here it is steel structure, right? This kind of structure you can find almost everywhere in buildings and in bridges, right? Expressway. So most of the steel structures, including part of these guiders. Yeah. So I will give you some topics like this one. So you can see in some weld joint or in some localized zone, you can see the crack happen, right? Yeah. So this kind of thing is actually I got my PhD based on this research topic. It's about the fatigue fractures. Yeah. So and of course this kind of crack induced by different kind of reasons. Sometimes because stress concentration was caused by the resistor stress or welding or corrosion damages. Yeah, so like the fatigue and corrosion, when they happen together, how to deal with these kind of things, it is also very important and very hard. Okay, so and then because this structure made of steel, so definitely it would corrode, right? Be corroded because it's exposed to the environment. Yeah, so this is atmospheric environment. However, even just one guider, the direction, the upward direction and downward direction, the localized environment is totally different. So it means even this one guider located in this spot, but the corrosion degree is very hard to evaluate because of the localized variation of environmental parameters. For example, the downside is a dew effect, and the upside has a rainwash effect, right? And especially I focused on the structure exposed in atmospheric environment. So it means, some special case like wet and drying process and like water film environment. This kind of special case, I need to do some quantitative evaluation. So this is also, I need to develop some special equipment to figure out. Yeah, and this is a basic theory about the macrocell galvanic corrosion. Yeah, so this is a famous Evans model. And recent 5 years, I start to do some, do something, I want to do something new, so I start to figure out if there are some good materials and good ways to do the local reinforcement. Yeah, so recently I focused on the carbon fiber sheet. The famous word is CFRP, I guess you know that. Yeah, and before, so using bonding CFRP, this kind of high weight materials, you can do the repair very easily. Don't need to waste too much money. But the material itself may be costly. Yeah, and also try to get good quality. Definitely, you need to consider not only the bonding behavior itself, but also you need to consider quite a lot of things like the material itself and how to make it works in field works, because it's quite different, its environment is different from the laboratory, so you perform this kind of reinforcement in winter or summer, it's totally, maybe the quality is quite hard to control. Yeah, and before you bonding that, you have to do the derusting. Yeah, derusting, I know it's derusting. It's very hard because you can achieve good quality in shop, in factory, but most of the repair happen. You have to bring the heavy equipment to the field works, to the existing infrastructures inside of the box guider. So actually rust remove, this kind of thing, it's also very several issue that a lot of companies they care about this. Okay, so although there are quite a lot of different topics, however, what I wanna do is actually, firstly, I did quite a lot of research on the deterioration mechanics, whatever the fracture, crack, fatigue, and corrosion. So these things, and coating deterioration, so all of these topics related to the deterioration of the infrastructures. And the next stage is maintenance. So based on the deterioration mechanics, I want to develop some maintenance technologies. Okay, so maintenance technologies including the protective coatings, how to decrease the cost of coatings, and some surface preparation method, surface treatment to derust the coating, to do derusting and to remove the coatings, and also environment assessment. Yeah. And finally, based on these two, I hope in future I can do some rehabilitation strategy for the infrastructure. Yeah. In previous presenter, they talk about the rehabilitation of human beings, but actually the structures, they also need the rehabilitation. Yeah. And in future, I want to develop some new materials to strengthen the structures and also consider its life cycle extensions. Okay. This is my representative papers, and today actually I take too much time to to tell you the total research scope, but what I want to talk about the detailed research galvanic corrosion, actually it's one part of this one. Okay, so firstly, let's start from the some basic image of corrosion. That this word is macro imagination, macro image of corrosion happened. So macro way. So what is corrosion? Just like Shakespeare said, this Silico. They said, keep up your bright swords, for the dew will rust them. So very easy to understand, right? So this is matter exposed in the electrolyte, then corrosion happened, then rust exists on your sword. Yeah, and from the microcell way, from the micro way to explain. For example, there is a water droplet attached on the steel substrate. You can see this is H2O, and it included a lot of O2 distributed on it. And then attached to the steel surface, you can see that the corrosion electrochemical reaction happened. Then the inner part tend to be the anodic region, and around it tend to be the cathodic region. Yeah, so that electron can flow in from the cathode to anode, and so that you can see visually impacted, found that the rust, would happen like a cycle, right? Yeah. So actually, the corrosion is definitely a problem. We have to focus on not only the microwave but also the microwave. Yeah. So, for example, there is steel bridge exposed above the seawater, right? Yeah. So this kind of existing structures aging over time, and especially the coating deterioration happen, and then what we should do, how to do that, because these kind of peelings happen everywhere, and most of the portions it's hard to deal with AI, right? Yeah, so we still, based on the very we have to figure out some good way to consider like the preparation types of painting or this kind of very basic technologies. Okay, then so if the corrosion happened, then we start to do some reparation. As I mentioned before, recent years I try to figure out if it's possible to using the CFRP reinforcement on these steel structures. Yeah, so but it's very easy to deboarding. Yeah, so this kind of thing, because of the corrosion might happen initially from the inside. Yeah, and one of the dangerous thing is a galvanic corrosion that would accelerate this process, would accelerate the deboarding, that we cannot visually observe this deboarding, this corrosion or galvanic corrosion or chloride corrosion, because it's initiated from the inside, right? Then although CFRP has been quite largely used in a lot of industry field, but based on because we scaring because we don't know how to predict it and we don't know how to evaluate this galvanic corrosion problem. So it has some limitations. Yeah. So let's see. The carbon fiber and CFRP, this kind of material itself, it's not a matter, but it has matter characteristics, and its potential difference is quite large between these two materials. Yeah, and also if satisfy these three conditions, then the galvanic corrosion definitely would happen. They exposed to the same electrical environment, and also there are water and oxygen, and also these two materials need to be electrical short circuit between these two materials. So we had do some basic research on the electrochemical properties, and we verified that the anisotropic electroconductivity of the fiber itself, so that we can see that the corn side and the skin side, they have very different electrical conductivities, so which lead to the galvanic would happen like this. So yeah, this way is the two materials, they contact with each other, and so we can see if they contact with each other and there are waters and there are electrolyte, then definitely this part still would be the anode and this part would be cathode. However, actually the electron can flow in smoothly in this way, but very hard to transfer, very hard to transfer from one fiber to another. Yeah, so from this kind of point of view, then we can see maybe this galvanic corrosion is physically distance limited. Okay, then also based on some previous study and based on some previous evaluation method, we start to figure out so what kind of parameter is important for us. Then I think the temperature is one of the most important thing. Factor has to be evaluated, and also like the electrolyte thickness because it's exposed in the atmospheric environment, and also like the system conductivity. Yeah, you know, in this system, it has materials conductivity and electrolyte. Yeah, so all of this is important. And so this way is something we did some electrochemical test to try to figure out the temperature effect. And we measured its open circuit potentials and do some theoretical research and calculation. And also this is a kind of very famous polarization curves, and so that we can calculate its we can calculate its corrosion rate, corrosion densities, and also like this try to quantitatively evaluate the effect of carbon fiber when it's conducted or not. Yeah, and also using, because you know the temperature highly related to this famous Arrhenius equation, right? Yeah, so based on the results, then we get a kind of prediction model. Yeah, so like this. And in future, I'd like to figure out, based on all of this, so in future I'd like to figure out the counter planes of galvanic corrosion. And yeah, that's all. Thank you very much.
So we now open the floor to questions for Professor Yang. Please give the mic to the lady. Two rows down. Yes, thank you.
Yes, good afternoon. My question is, you mentioned some factors influencing galvanic corrosions.
Yes.
Yes, when carbon fiber and steel are coupled with atmospheric conditions, then how can this be measured to assess the long-term performance together or its durability? The question is, how can this be measured to assess their long-term performance together and its durability?
Durability. You mean, okay, so it's a very detailed thing, a very like localized kind of electrochemical information, how to transfer into durability.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so this is a very good question. Thank you very much. So this is the hardest part. Yeah, so actually what I want to say is, for example, this way, why I need to evaluate these, do some quantitative evaluation, it's very hard to directly connect with the derivativity of structure itself, or even very hard to directly tell us, okay, this part residual life, how it would be. But the problem is, we care about it. What we really caring about is the galvanic corrosion would happen or not. So if happened, then what kind of phenomena would it be? Yeah, so it would lead to a peeling corrosion or lead to a uniform corrosion. Or if we shut down using some method, so it may be stopped. So that is why I do this kind of fundamental study. Yeah. So actually, this part is try to, the first stage, next stage is based on this kind of model, then I start to develop. Okay, I figure out which parameter is very important and which one is not so much important, so that it would help us to develop a countermeasure. Yeah, that's all. Thank you.
Other questions from the floor? Yes, another one.
Good afternoon, Professor Yang.
Yes.
I would just like to ask if you have plans on exploring the potential macro level effects, since you mentioned earlier that temperature is a big factor.
Yes.
In line with this, I would just like to ask whether climate change since you mentioned earlier, you also presented that climate is a factor. So do you have plans in exploring how climate change could affect galvanic corrosion in those types of systems?
Okay, thank you very much. This is what I really worried about. And actually, I guess everyone that you can feel that the climate change, sometimes the weather tend to be a little bit strange. Yeah, so what I want to say is important for the bonding or for the corrosion acceleration, the temperature effect. Important thing is temperature difference. Not only about the temperature would increase for 1 degree or 2 degree. The temperature difference from, for example, right now it's every day, day and night. The temperature difference is not so much large, but maybe the weather tend to be strange, and then temperature difference is much larger, 20 degree every day. Then that is a big problem, especially for the interface. Yeah. So this is what I am really worried about. Thank you.
Question. Any other questions? We'll entertain one last question from the floor before we conclude this session. One last word from you, Professor Yang.
Yes.
Want to conclude your presentation?
I concluded?
Yes.
Okay. I conclude my research. I concluded quite a lot actually. But for galvanic corrosion, I think it's a topic that happened everywhere. Yeah, because I think in future that still. And also in concrete structure inside it also has steel bars. So corrosion happen everywhere. Galvanic corrosion happen everywhere, and I think this is something I will continue to figure out. And this is kind of thing that every country maybe would focus on. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Yang. Clearly, it's impactful, deeply relevant to modern materials engineering, and most importantly, very practical for everyday life. Very valuable research to conclude our session. So before we end, I would like to the first session. Before we end the first session, I'd like first to invite everyone for free coffee. You are going to take your coffee. You just have to show your ID. So no ID, no coffee. All right. So I will see you all at 4:10. Thank you.
First presentation looks at agricultural research and education at Kyushu University's farm. May I invite Associate Professor Abiko Tomomi to deliver her presentation entitled Current Research and Education in Rice Paddy at Kyushu University Farm. Professor Abiko, the floor is yours, and let's give her a warm round of applause.
Hello. In Japan, the time is coming to bloom plum tree. It means the end of winter and the spring will soon. And next, I will talk about agriculture thing. It means plants. And I'm Tomomi Abiko, assistant professor in Faculty of Agriculture, and I'm working in University Farm. Let me introduce briefly about Faculty of Agriculture. So Faculty of Agriculture, we have philosophy and goal. By bringing together the wisdom learned from life, water, soil, forest, and earth, and passing to the next generation as a human asset, and we will realize the evolving agronomics that aim for the rich coexistence and mankind and the global environment. And many students is learning a very wide topic. And for example, climate change, food production. The new topic is smart agriculture, and plant genome editing, food cycle aquaculture, and insect industry creation, and so on. So here is a QR code of Faculty of Agriculture. If you want to see, please visit. This picture shows the Ito campus, main campus of Kyushu University, and the yellow building. This building is of Faculty of Agriculture. And previously in Hakosaki campus, many students came from Philippines for studying. From 2022, 3 undergraduate and graduate students, 9 students are studying and got degree. And I'm working in University Farm. And the farm is located here in paddy field here, and the pasture and milk cow goats here, and the horticulture field is here, the southern part, and then greenhouse, upland fields, so many field facilities are constructed. And on-campus farm started the activity from 2020 to 2021 in Ito campus, on campus. And at that time, the setting for the farmland was very deeply considered. For example, agriculture water, like reservoir, and the efficiency of sunlight, and the soil type. The soil type is in Ito campus is sandy, needed to be more fertile. And the effect of environment, effect to the environment, like effect to the ecosystem. And the farm roads, slopes, drainage, and infrastructure for safety were considered. The merit of on-campus is become easier to communicate through the field between the researcher and the student. So let me introduce University Farm. Our director of University Farm is Professor Anai, who is a soybean specialist. And there is a main division here: crop, horticulture, animal husbandry, and animal production. And we cooperate with the special disability team. And the mission of University Farm is, one is teaching of the background of agriculture for the research. The target student is the second and third year student in Faculty of Agriculture. Of course, international course of students, and the students came from all faculty are studying in the University Farm. We teach by hands-on learning with lecture. The merit of this type of class is, of course, the student can understand how to do, but students can communicate well with each other. Okay. For example, in paddy field, I'm in paddy field. This is a paddy field, 2.7 hectare, and the student can learn from the preparation of the field for rice farming, and the seeding and transplanting, and the observation of the rice growth, and harvest, and evaluation, quantity and quality, and compare the food tasty of rice. And the student can also learn like smart agriculture, like guidance tractor, students can ride on. And the drone demonstration are also performed by technical assistant. And the second mission is conducting demonstration of experiment of new thought with new technology that will support future agriculture, considering ecosystem. Okay, next, I would like to talk about experiments of rice. Here's the background. Situation surrounding rice paddy. In Japan, paddy field area is 2.3 million hectares. I think it's a similar size in Philippines. And then among the paddy area, rice is cultivated 1.6 million hectares, not all. The size, average of the paddy size is around 3,000 square meter. It means it's not large scale because the rice farming are performed by each family. The paddy area is categorized into two types mainly. One is rice terrace in the mountainous area. The ratio is 38%. And the second one is irrigated rice field in a plain area. And recently, the climate, we really feel climate change outside. And the effect of rising temperature is higher in Kyushu region compared to the whole Japan. And the effect of heavy rain is also serious. Sometimes we have heavy rain in a short time after continuous rainfall. So from these aspects, from the aspect of society and the environment, current issues surrounding rice paddy in Japan is like this. The aging of farmer and the lack of successor. The aging is very serious problem. Like rate of above 65 years old is occupied 70%. And reducing per capita rice consumption, it means that one Japanese, the amount of the one Japanese eats 1 year. The amount is just 50 kilograms of rice grain are eaten by one person in 1 year. I think in Philippines, 190 kilograms of rice are eaten. Is it correct? In statistically. It's quite different. Yes. Well, Japanese situation is like this. And the rising price and material, machine, and of course rice product is also one of the issues. And from the aspect of environment, agricultural damage easily occur from the global warming and excess amount of rainfall. And we should consider about the greenhouse gas emission too. So from this background, let me introduce two approaches today: adaptation to climate change by cultivation, considering reduced GHG emission from paddy. Second one is utilization of converted field from paddy to culture other crop, because self-sufficiency is very low, 38%. So we have to grow another crop in the paddy field by conversion to upland. Okay. Here is the basic rice calendar schedule in Kyushu region. In May, we germinate the seed and then start the preparation of the rice paddy field. And then we grow the plants seedling, younger seedling were grown in the nursery bed. And then before transplanting, the soil are puddling and then watered. And then in June, the seedling were transplanted almost by machine, almost 100 machine. And then rice growth will start like this curve. In August, the flowering time will come. And then in September, the grain is ripening and maturing. And then the farmer finally harvests in August. Okay? And then this is very important point about water management. After transplanting, the water is supplied and then keeps the water level worldwide and then drain. And again, water is supplied and then drain. And after that, we call mid-season drainage, MSD. This is longer drainage period. In conventional calendar, 7 days, they recommend it. And then after that, the water supplies again, and then this is the flowering time, so the rice needs a lot of water, so the water is kept like this. And then intermittent irrigation are started again. And then this mid-season drainage, what is MSD? What's the meaning of MSD? This is for the incorporation of oxygen into the soil, because oxygen in the submargins, waterlogged soil become shortage under waterlogged soil. So by MSD, by drainage, incorporation of oxygen into the soil occur. And another reason, adjustment of the number of ripened panicle. It's very sophisticated technology by farmers. And under waterlogged condition, there's one concern. Methane gas, GHG emission are occurred. And the methane from paddy field is occupied 44% of total emission in Japan. And to reduce methane during the rice cultivation, longer period of MSD is focused on the government to interchange the J, we call J credit. In this experiment, we drained on the water on July 3rd, and then keep the drainage for 7 days, and then water supplies again. In the experiment in longer MSD condition, plus 3 days, the MSD treatment are treated. You can see the picture. I took picture after supplying the water in conventional, but during 3 days longer, there's a very big crack on the soil, and then leaf a little bit become shrinking. Okay, so I will show the results of this year. This is the fields that I use, 2 fields. The size is 0.2 hectare. And then this spot means the place to get the harvest sample for analysis. And then this value means the harvest unit, how amount of rice grain harvested from 1,000 square meter. In conventional area condition, totally 400 kilogram of rice grain are harvested from 1,000 square meter. Compared to conventional condition, in more longer MSD condition, totally 470 kilogram of rice grain are harvested from 1,000 square meter. According to conventional calendar, 7 days are recommended, but in this experiment, more 3 days is effective. And we analyzed yield component. The reason was the increase of ripening rates, ripening grain rates. And I took picture of the field from the sky by thermal drone. In the conventional paddy, the water already supplied. Compared to conventional condition, in the longer MSD, there's no water surface. And then yellow means almost 40 degrees, and the red means almost 50 degrees. And then blue means almost 30 degrees. And then we can see the ununiform thermal temperature on the soil surface during the MSD condition, MSD period. This picture shows it's new information. Everybody thinking it's uniform harmful, like the drainage. It's become dry land, but it's not uniform. It's ununiform phenomenon. And the harvest per unit is higher at the edge of the field. It means we should consider the reconfirmation what is necessary for the rice cultivation calendar for the changing climates. And we will repeat the experiment on 2020 this year too, by under decarbonization unit of Kyushu University. Okay, I'll talk about the second topic. Time is okay. 3 minutes. Oh, okay. It's okay. Yeah. Second topic is promotion of the usage of converted field from paddy field to cultivate various kinds of crop in the paddy field. Here is the suitable water level is different depending on the crop. If the rice is water erosion tolerant, but the soybean, corn, and barley is and tolerant to water losing. So this is the rice field, and this is soybean cultivated in a rice field, converted field from a paddy. And the paddy soil is easy, difficult to drainage, so the water losing damage happen easily. And my research is water tolerant of the plants. Sometimes so far I analyze this kind of crops, and now currently I and my students are focusing on taro. Taro we call satoimo. The taro is, I think it's familiar here too. And we evaluate how the adaptability to the upland and flood condition. We prepare the seedling like this, upland and flooded condition. And the carbon-11 is a radioactive material. It's dangerous, but the experiment was performed under QST using Petty system. After feeding of carbon-11 into the leaf, one leaf, during 3 hours, the carbon photosynthesized could translocate it onto the corm in the both condition. It means the taro is tolerant to the upland crop and upland condition and flooded condition. It means taro can adaptable wider environments. And this is please see the poster Mr. Rupa Singh from Sayuri Masako is presenting now. So we are using the FOAS system, it's an irrigation system. In the paddy fields, it's difficult to keep the water level ideally. But in this system, we can control the water level like this. So we are analyzing how effect of the FOAS system. And this system already used in 50,000 hectares of paddy in Japan. Okay, this is the last slide. I like to take picture to capture a moment scientifically in the field. Using thermal camera, we can see a temperature difference. We put cow manure here. The cow manure is a little bit hot, and the paddy field is lower, like 30 degrees, and the road is asphalt, it's really hot. And this is a corn field. If the corn is active, vigorous, the corn can keep the temperature, suitable temperature inside of the plant. The color becomes black. But the plant feel stress, the color becomes yellow. This one, do you know the mulch, vinyl mulch? I use the black mulch and the white mulch. There's a big difference of the temperature. And this is one paddy rice patch. And here, there's the entrance of the water supply. And I supply the water, so we can capture the water flow. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor, for your discussion. We now open the floor for any questions. Kindly raise your hand so that our ushers can go to you and give you the mic. Are there any questions?
Thank you very much for your presentation. Actually, I like plants very much, but it always dies because I give it too much water. So right now I understand because it needs to breathe, it needs oxygen, it needs to balance oxygen and water. Actually, yeah, in Philippines there is rain seasons, very long time of rain seasons. So I think they also face this kind of subject to have helped a lot. I think, but still, just I'm curious about. Do you think maybe in future it may be possible to grow the plants easier to, for example, to make it growing by in the water, and no soil. Because I found I can make the plants live alive in water without soil, but if I put it in soil and give it too much water, then the roots will rust very fast. So I just curious, yeah.
Yes, and thank you for question. There's many kinds of rice variety. Actually, one variety is very famous for deep water rice. The deep water rice can survive under the water, and the deep water rice can grow above the water surface a little bit, and the oxygen comes from the tip of leaf. So the deep water rice can survive. But in the case of normal, conventional leading variety, this potential doesn't, the variety doesn't have this kind of potential to water body. Only the rice is tolerant to the root is tolerant, but under water looks maybe 7 days, it must be okay. But after that, the rice leaf will be fall down. So yeah, depend on the variety. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor. Are there any other questions from the audience?
Good afternoon, Sensei. I'm just curious. I don't have a background in agricultural science at all, but I'm wondering if Kyushu University has a relationship or has collaborated with other organizations such as the International Rice Institute here in the Philippines, or other organizations, because rice is a very important staple here in the Philippines and of course in Asia. So I'm just curious if you have that partnership with other, if Kyushu University has that partnership with other organizations.
Yes, many faculty has the relationship with Institute of IRI and the field rice, because many scientists came here to research about rice, and then the scientists cooperate each other, and many things, many new topics are clarified so far. And mostly the research is focused in the developing with a variety, like a blast resistance, insect resistance, and the drought stress. Yes, and I hope to collaborate with the scientists, the students in Philippines from the rice cultivation, like water management, from the aspect of water management. Yes, I hope so. Thank you very much.
Any other questions?
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I noticed that all of your data is from single plane rice cultivation. In the Philippines, we're very famous for our terraces. Could you generalize this data to other forms of rice cultivation, other setups? Would the temperature and water flow be similar, you think, or would it need to be tested further?
You mean this, right? This, right? Oh, this right?
Yeah, I noticed, would it be different, say, after climate change, or like in the Pacific, for example, further into the typhoon basin? Are you planning further studies?
I'm planning to study the observation in two sides, like mountainous side and plain side, because the effect of climate is really different between two area. And then recently, the mountainous area is more suitable to harvest good quality of rice. But in plain area, the amount of rice grain are very well. So we should compare two areas. Did you?
Thank you.
I wanna. Did I get to your point?
Well, I was curious.
Yes.
Well, as a development science major, most of my perspective on agriculture is more from a humanistic, human development standpoint, right? So how would this apply to improving the livelihoods of farmers in Southeast Asia, not in rice-dependent economies?
Professor, the question was how your research would apply to rice-dependent economies.
Economies?
It's for countries. Countries who are dependent on rice or who have large consumption of rice, such as the Philippines and Japan as well. So they consume a lot of rice. So our student is asking how your research would affect their economies, probably in terms of production or the distribution of rice.
Okay. In Niigata, in the middle of Japan, rice is not very big production of rice. And the second way is Hokkaido. And then Kyushu is in Fukuoka and Saga, the north of Kyushu region, many rice are harvested, but the quality is very high in Niigata and secondly Hokkaido. In Kyushu, a little bit more hotter compared to northern parts, and then the rice quality is a little bit lower compared to Niigata and Hokkaido. So economic, we received the effect of economic too. Yeah.
Thank you.
Let me talk later. Yes.
We have time for one last.
Good afternoon, and thank you for your presentation. My question is, I used to study human nutrition and food, and I'm just curious, in your studies, were you able to find any implication of the experiment to nutritional content of rice, or is it just the same? Does it affect the nutritional content of rice in any way?
Nutritional contents.
Oh, she's asking the nutritional contents, probably the percentage of carbohydrates, vitamins, minerals that are present in the rice. So she's asking if your research has found any of those.
So rice almost the nutrient is occupied by carbohydrate, but the outer side of grain there is a brown layer, a lot of fiber, and then inside, a little bit inside, there's a protein layer. It means nutrients of protein. So I'm conducting the experiments with a milling company, how to mill the degree is the most nutrient grain for human. So yeah, I'm trying to analyze.
Okay,
Yeah.
so far no negative effect on the nutrition or protein
Yes.
based on your study?
Yes, but we will try that. So I'm glad to share the ideas. Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Abico, for that very healthy discussion. Our next presentation explores neurological diseases, mechanism through medical research. May I invite Associate Professor Yamasaki Ryo to deliver his presentation entitled Elucidation to the Pathomechanism of Neurological Diseases through the Glial Connection. So Professor, you have the floor, and let's give him a warm round of applause.
Good afternoon, and thank you very much for the introduction. Today, I'd like to discuss how glial networks shape the inflammation and neurodegeneration, and how understanding these connections may help us reinterpret the pathomechanisms of neurological diseases. Rather than focusing only on individual cells, I'd like to introduce a network-based perspective centered on what we call the glial assembly. So before my talk, I will introduce our international collaboration. This slide summarizes my experiences in supervising the international students and research fellows. Our laboratory has hosted trainees from multiple countries, including China, Netherlands, or Turkey, or somewhere. And through these collaborations, we have produced several peer-reviewed publications in such as PRONAS or scientific reports or something like that. And this slide illustrates our internationally oriented clinical training program. And rather than simple observation, international trainees participate in the same curriculum as Japanese students, including bedside examination or outpatient discussions or ward activities. And through English lectures and hands-on clinical practice, the program aims to provide meaningful clinical growth within a multicultural learning environment. So this slide shows a clinical training program for visiting medical students from the Philippines. During their stay, they participated in both ward and outpatient clinical training, working alongside Japanese trainees in daily clinical practice. Through hands-on experience and direct patient interaction, the program aimed to provide practical clinical exposure within an international learning environment. This slide highlights our international collaboration in clinical practice. Since 2017, we have conducted case-based teleconference with multiple universities in Indonesia, allowing international interactive clinical discussion and shared learning across institutions. Building on this experience, I hope to expand similar clinical collaborations with universities in the Philippines, creating opportunities for joint case discussions and educational exchange within the Asia-Pacific region. So let's go back to the scientific talk. When we think about neurological diseases, we often divide them into two broad groups, like autoimmune demyelinating diseases and neurodegenerative diseases. On the left is Jacqueline Dubré, a renowned cellist whose career was affected by multiple sclerosis. On the right, figures such as Stephen Hawking, Michael J. Fox, and Wallace Willis remind us of ALS, Parkinson's disease, and frontotemporal dementia. Although these conditions differ clinically, they share the one major challenge: they continue to progress despite current therapies. So today I'd like to ask a simple question. What if the neurological diseases are only disorders of individual cells, but disorders of cellular connections? Most current therapeutic strategies are based on a cell-centric view of disease. We suppress immune cells to reduce inflammation, and we remove pathological proteins that accumulate in the brain, and we try to protect neurons from degeneration. Each of these approaches target a specific cell type or molecule. However, neurological diseases rarely involve only one cell type. Even when individual targets are successfully controlled, disease progression often continues. So this suggests that focusing on single cells may not fully capture the complexity of disease mechanisms. So far, we have been talking about individual diseases, the individual patients, and the individual pathological mechanisms. But I'd like to step back for a moment and ask a different kind of question. And what if the main problem is not individual cells? What if disease progression is driven by disrupted cellular connections? In the central nervous system, no cell truly acts alone. Neurons, immune cells, and other parenchymal cells, they are constantly communicating. They exchange signals or metabolic support, and they regulate inflammation together. So when these connections become unstable, the entire system may change even before massive cell loss occurs. So this idea suggests that neurological diseases may not only be cellular disorders, but the network disorders. Before discussing glial assemblies, let me briefly introduce the main cell types in the brain. Neurons and glial cells exist in almost equal numbers, about 100 billion each. Glial cells include astroglia and oligodendroglia and microglia. So these cells with distinct roles maintaining the environment and forming myelin and regulating the immune response. Although neurons receive most of the attention, glial cells forms a large and active population. Understanding how they interact is essential for understanding disease mechanisms. So an important point is that glial cells do not function in isolation. They form interconnected networks throughout the central nervous system. Here, the astrocytes communicate with oligodendroglia through connexins, allowing exchange of ions and metabolic substrates. Through this cooperation, the glial networks help maintain neural homeostasis, especially under stress or inflammation. So how do glial cells communicate with each other? A key mechanism involves membrane proteins called connexins, which form gap junction channels between neighboring cells. These channels allow direct exchange of ions and small molecules, and making communication fast and efficient. Different glial cells express different types of connections. For example, astroglia mainly express connexin 30 and 43, while oligodendroglia express connexin 32 and 47. This cell type specificity shapes how information flows through glial networks. As a result, glial cells are not isolated units, but remain continuously connected. This continuous communication forms the structural basis of what we call the glial assembly. So far, we have seen that glial cells are continuously connected through connections. Based on this, we propose the concept of the glial assembly. We define the glial assembly as a dynamic functional network where astroglia, oligodendroglia, and microglia act as an integrated unit. This network regulates homeostasis, metabolism, and inflammation, and dynamically changes during disease. Rather than viewing glial cells as isolated elements, the glial assembly represents a higher order functional system. So this perspective allows us to reinterpret the neurological diseases as disturbance of a multicellular network. So far, we define the glial assembly as a dynamic network. An important point is that this network is not fixed. Glial assemblies reorganize in response to stress or inflammation or injury. In healthy conditions, connections mainly form gap junction and thus stabilize cell-to-cell communication. In disease states, the balance shifts and glial network can amplify inflammatory signaling Importantly, this reorganization is context dependent. So it can either promote pathology or contribute to promote neuroprotection. These neurological diseases neurological diseases can be viewed as dynamic remodeling of cellular communication. So here is shown evidence from human pathology. So this is a brain from the multiple sclerosis patient. Disruption of glial networks extends beyond visible regions. During the acute phase of multiple sclerosis, both astroglial connexin 47 and oligodendroglial connexins 32 or 47 are both decreased, indicating global network destabilization. However, in the chronic phase, astroglial connexin 43 is jumping up or back to increase, while oligodendroglial connexin 47 or 32 are still decreased. So this suggests that the network does not simply recover, but reorganize into a different state. Such imbalance in glial assemblies contribute to persistent inflammation and disease progression. So before immune activation, glial assemblies are relatively balanced. Astroglia and oligodendroglia maintain stable communication through these small dot connections, and these microglia remain unstable condition. In this condition, the glial network supports neuronal function and maintains its tissue homeostasis. But after immunization, immune cells begin to enter the central nervous system. At this stage, the glial network is still largely intact, but external inflammatory signals start to challenge its balance. Astroglia sense the change the environment, and microglia begin to respond. This represents its first shift from a homeostatic network toward an inflammatory state. As inflammation progresses, connexin expression decreases, and this weakens communications between astroglia and oligodendroglia. Rather than stabilizing the tissue, the network begins to lose coordination. This loss of connectivity is a critical turning point. The glial assembly becomes fragmented, and during making the tissue more vulnerable to inflammatory amplification. With reduced connectivity, astroglia become strongly activated, and they increase expression of certain connections here and release inflammatory mediators. Instead of buffering inflammation, the network starts to propagate signals. So astroglial activation represents a shift from protection toward amplification. As astroglia strong intensifies, microglia become much activated, and additional immune cells infiltrate into the tissue. At this stage, the glial assembly no longer acts as stabilizing network. Instead, it forms a feedback loop that sustains chronic inflammation. Communication imbalance now drives disease progression rather than limiting it. So this final panel summarizes the entire sequence. The process begins with a balanced network. The immune cell entry disrupts connectivity, and connection expression decreases. Astroglia become activated, and microglia response escalate. Together, these changes transform the glial assembly from a homeostatic state into an inflammatory amplifier. So in inflammatory disease, it is not only immune cells that drive pathology. It is the imbalance of glial connections that allows inflammation to spread and persist. So amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, or ALS, is characterized by chronic progressive muscle weakness or muscle atrophy and fasciculations, as illustrated here by tongue atrophy and fasciculations. can you see the waving of the surface of the tongue? So although ALS is classically viewed as a motor neuron disease, increasing evidence indicates that non-cell autonomous mechanisms involving glial networks. So in a familiar ALS model using mutant SOD1 model mice, deficiency of astroglial connexin 30 ameliorated disease progression. Mice lacking connexin 30 showed delayed onset and prolonged survival, suggesting that under certain conditions, glial assemblies can enhance neuroglial inflammation and neurons' vulnerability. Thus, even in ALS, the balance of glial network critically influences the disease progression. So next, I'll show a Parkinson's disease model. So these are the usual Parkinson's disease signs like rolling tremor or peak dose dyskinesia and Parkinson's gait. Sorry. Okay. So although Parkinson's disease is traditionally viewed as a dopaminergic neuronal disorder, the astroglial responses strongly influence disease progression. In an MPTP mouse model, deficiency of astroglial connexin 30 improved clinical outcomes and reduced neuronal loss. Mechanistically, connexin 30 deficiency suppressed astroglial activation and inflammatory signaling. So these findings indicate that, as in ALS, Parkinson's disease progression is shaped by the balance of and reorganization of glial network. Now I'd like to integrate the previous findings into one framework. The glial assembly disruption appears to be a shared mechanism across neurological diseases, but pattern or remodeling differs by disease. Astroglial connections, such as connexin 30 or connexin 43, can amplify the inflammation, while oligodendroglial connections 47 or 32 support network stability. Animal studies show that modifying these connections changes disease outcomes, indicating that glial assemblies actively shape disease progression. Therefore, targeting glial networks will require disease and stage-specific modulation rather than a single uniform strategy. So up to this point, I've shown how glial assemblies change across neurological diseases. Traditionally, glial cells were viewed as passive supporters of neurons. However, accumulating evidence shows that glial assemblies actively regulate inflammation, neuronal vulnerability, and disease progression. Rather than isolated helpers, glial cells function as dynamic coordinators of the neuronal environment. This shifts our view of neurodegeneration from a neuron-centered process to a network disorder driven by glial assemblies. So current therapies target individuals' disease components and are often only partially effective. If glial assemblies integrate immune, neuronal, and inflammatory processes, then modulating these networks offer a new therapeutic strategy. This positions the glial assembly as a novel therapeutic target. So far, I have discussed the glial assemblies as therapeutic targets. Here I introduce several tentative candidates that modulate glial networks. INI-0602 is a connexin hemichannel blocker that attenuates chronic symptoms. So INI-0602 is a carbenoxolone derivative with improved blood-brain barrier permeability. As you may know, licorice is a good, nice candy. I don't know if you guys likes this or not. But this is the carbenoxolone. And carbenoxolone derivative will, they improve the blood-brain barrier permeability to make INI-0602. I'm sorry. INI-0602 can modulate intracellular communication rather than directly suppressing the immune cells. And it's really effective to treat these EAE model mice, and the clinical signs are significantly alleviated. The next candidate is the igurachimod. Igurachimod is an anti-rheumatic drug, suppresses microglial NF-kappa B signaling, and it reduces disease severity in experimental models. So this is also the EAE clinical sign. These findings suggest that targeting glial assemblies through connection modulation or inflammatory regulation may represent a realistic therapeutic strategy. So this is take-home messages. First, neurological diseases are disorders of cellular networks. Glial assemblies actively drive inflammation and neurodegeneration. Modulating glial connections offers new therapeutic possibilities. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Professor Numasaki. So the session is now open for questions from the floor. Anyone would like to begin? Okay, can you give the mic to my student?
Good afternoon, Professor. Thank you for that very informative presentation. I would just like to ask how, since I'm a student from here in UP Law, I would just like to ask how long-term stress and pressure affects our glial assemblies and how it could affect our overall neurological health.
So you mean the glial assembly for neurological function?
Yes.
Okay, so glial assembly is kind of the the brain itself. So we cannot just treat the neuron itself, but also we need to care about other cells, non-neuronal cells in the brain. And normally, glial assembly is the functions of neural assembly is like keeping homeostasis of neurons or brain environment. But in disease stage, the glial assemblies may become the cause of the disease or the amplifier of the disease. So we need to be careful if those diseases or some other diseases are related to the dysfunction of glial assembly. So we are now focusing on those glial cells. So I think that those glial cells are equally important as the neurons. Did I answer your question?
Professor, in line with that, how does high levels of stress or chronic stress affect our glial networks in this case?
So licorice is not enter the brain. So they can just ask, they cannot enter the brain. So those, like Kanzo is another, the name of licorice, and those candies are good for the, muscle cramp. That is the good functional point for licorice, but they are not function. They don't have a function for the brain parenchyma.
Thank you.
Does that answer your question?
To rephrase my question, Professor, how about higher levels of cortisol on the brain? Does that affect the networks or general?
Excuse me. Sorry.
So high levels of stress. I think
Stress.
because he's a law student, he's wondering how.
I see.
Cortisol, no?
Cortisol. So cortisol is a strong immunosuppressant. So the microglia or other immune cells are suppressed by the stress. So those, excess stress is bad, but the excess suppression of the glial cells are also not good for a brain environment. So too much stress is not good, I think.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you. Sorry.
Thank you. Any other questions? Agnes.
Good afternoon, Professor. Thank you for that wonderful presentation. I would just like to ask if the damage to the glial cells are actually a cause or a result of neurological disease. And for the second question after, I will.
Okay. So it depends. Because there are lots of diseases which originate from the glial dysfunction, or the neuronal dysfunction also causes the glial dysfunction. So sometimes immune cells flow into the brain, and that is the key to start the environmental change. And those environmental change activates the astroglia into the pro-inflammatory state, like A1 stage astrocytes, and those astrocytes are main cause of the the chronic phase of those disease. So it depends the the milieu of the brain. So I don't have a good answer. Sorry.
Thank you. For my second question, I want to ask if since the damage to the glial cells it amplifies or it sort of produces a pathological feedback loop that further worsens the inflammation or the neurological disease. I want to ask if we have, aside from the potential therapies we have now, I want to ask also if there is a possibility for full recovery or full regeneration of the cells that have already been damaged.
Good question. Brain damage includes neuronal damage and glial cell damage, I think. So glial cell damage is easily recovered, I think. But the neuronal damage is not easy to recover. So, but we can prevent or slow the disease progression by the treatment of or prevention of the glial excessive inflammation or activation. So that is really needed in current era. So I think the glial cell is a good target to prevent the progression of the disease, I think.
Last, Professor. Would the prevention of further damage to the glial pathways, would it become, or would it potentially be able to reverse neurological diseases, or would it just be limited to slowing down the progression of the neurological disease?
That is also a really important point. Yeah. So, as you may know, the multiple sclerosis is a relapse-limiting disease, and in the remission phase, there is no symptoms. And if we can keep the remission stage, that disease is cured. But when the glial activation still occurs even in the remission stage, the smuggling activation is lasting even in the remission stage. So if we can stop the glial activation, we can cure the multiple sclerosis. But if we leave the glial activation active, we cannot stop the multiple sclerosis activity. So that is really a good point, and we are trying to, perfectly prevent the, multiple sclerosis. Sorry.
Professor, can I have one last very
Sure.
For asymptomatic neurological diseases, is there a way to already detect if there is an existing damage in the glial framework or the glial pathways, provided that there is no symptom yet? So how would
people, is it possible for people to have an early detection for already existing damage?
That's also a good point. We have a good brain image technique like PET. So we can level the microglial activation by some kind of PET tracer. So there are new imaging techniques I think developed. So that is one good way.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
No more questions, Ms. Wow. He's a law student, a medical student. Very good questions from a student. Any more questions? Yes?
Yes, good afternoon, Professor. My question is, in the result of your study, does it have a relation to or in addressing the patients with epilepsy?
Epilepsy, yes. So epilepsy is, so I just removed the slides for epilepsy, but epilepsy is also a really important disease which relates to the connection activation. So in epilepsy patients, the connection 43 is really upregulated, I think. So the treatment for the epilepsy, the glial cell is a good target, I think. So epilepsy is related to the glial activity. Yeah, okay.
Okay, so I think our time is up for question and answer. You can continue asking Professor Yamasaki later during the dinner. So you have further questions. Thank you very much, Professor Yamasaki. So so it's a powerful reminder that breakthroughs are often found in connections that we often overlook. Right. So at this point, our final presentation offers a personal reflection on academic experience and professional growth within the context of Kyushu University. Okay, so I am proud to introduce my senpai, one of the most beloved and respected alumni within our Filipino community here, Kyushu alumni Filipino community here in the Philippines. Please let us all welcome Professor Rowena Soriano, Associate Dean of the Far Eastern University School of Law.
Thank you, Professor Golda. Good afternoon, everyone. What I can assure you at the outset, studying in Kyushu University clears the glacial pathways and is good for the overall neurological health. So, Kyushu University. My Kyudai experience can be expressed by the Japanese word, and I think you often encounter this in your social media, ikigai. Ikigai, the purpose or reason for being. My Kyudai experience has elevated my discipline and lawyering career into a higher mission. My being a Polsai, UP Iska ng Bayan, Ateneo Law's Ignatian spirituality or person for others, and now the FEU Institute of Law, where I serve as Associate Dean and Director for the Legal Aid Programs, Credo, Be Brave, Fortitude, Excellence, and Uprightness, and of course, my son and my partner's motherhood and sense of being. All has grounded my lawyering mission. In other words, intentional living and lawyering. Harmonized and blended together, Kyudai education has allowed the crystallization of the following virtues: respect, ethical lawyering, and sustainability as professional, advocacy, and personal way of life. I remember, malayo ang generation gap namin ni Professor Golda, fall of 2015, as Japan Student Services Organization, or JASO, scholar under the Kyushu University, Ateneo de Manila University, Double Master of Laws program. I'm proud to be the lone pioneer batch. There's really a very healthy culture of conducive learning in Kyushu University, but I'm proud to be a straight A graduate, just a bragging right. First time to experience fall, winter, spring, and summer, and hurdled 3 earthquakes. Yes, ranging from intensity 5, 6, 7, with aftershocks of minute intervals. Though I've always been a multitasker, no amount of workload now, after Kyudai education, could ever alarm me afterwards. I became, in that sense, an unbothered queen in my own right. Under the double LLM program, I had to study LLM twice, 2 years. First, under the International Economic Business Law in Kyushu, where my classmates were between the age of 18 and 30 years old. And next, under the International Economic Law in Ateneo Law School, where my students also became my classmates. So academically and socially, I was able to experience life decades younger. My thesis, Ichika Bachi, Ace or Loss. The casino sector examined through the lens of comparative legal systems and frameworks of anti-money laundering. Because formerly, I'm the legal officer of the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas. So this was inspired by my colleagues who supervised me back in the days and who eventually became officers of the Anti-Money Laundering Council. So I presented my thesis thrice. First in Göttingen University, Germany, study trip, all for free, by the way, under the European Union Diploma Program, also under the LLM program of Kyushu University. Professor Mark Fennick, my very amazing, helpful, and inspiring thesis advisor right there. International audience before the Malaga Conference in Ateneo Law School, which we organized together with the Graduate Legal Studies Institute, where at the time I was working part-time alongside deans of the law school, and of course, thesis defense at the Ateneo Law School. Even if not required, I encourage those who will enroll in Kyushu University for their Master of Laws to still take up internship. I did with my Young Leaders Program scholars, fellow classmates, Professor Emerson Banyes of UP Law, and now Chancellor Alized Ditocalan. So we took our internship at Uryo and Itoga Law Office in Tokyo, Japan. So during internship, I was able to experience the best practices of lawyering in Japan. Academic collaboration. After graduating, it did not stop there, the learning, because it only served to widen the network and collaboration, both at the academic, professional, and even personal level. Given my learnings of comparative analytical framework from my courses to creative thinking, I did pursue quite a lot of academic collaboration in my capacity as, back then, program chair of the political science program in UP Manila, as a professor also, part-time lecturer, part-time faculty in the Ateneo Law School, and now the Associate Dean of FEU Institute of Law and Legal Aid Supervisor. You see from the photo that Professor Golda last year, in this very same podium, they had a talk organized for our sensei, Kaslav Pejovic. I mentioned about personal advocacy, and probably you can see from my and my telephone there, made of paete wood and inaul. Personal advocacy became my way of life because of another course in LLM, diversification of cultural expression and creative economy or industries. Philippine version, supporting local artists and artisans from indigenous cultural communities from our 110 ethno-linguistic groups or indigenous peoples. It's my takeaway from that course under Professor Yu Kojima and international law, private international law, and intellectual property under Professor Toshiyuki Kono. So I was awarded Wear Your Filipino Fashion in 2023. Discipline and teaching in terms of pedagogical teaching methodology, comparative law analysis, most significant topics, intensive lectures, receiving all reading materials in advance with a meaningful class participation or discussion under Professor Kaslav Pejovic, cultural tours, internships, in terms of competencies or course learning outcomes, students acquire, develop, apply pragmatic analytic tools to real-world problems. Combination of lectures, case studies, video clips for examples, and documentaries. Class discussions and applied teamwork, yes, team problem solving under Professor Mark Fennick, Eric Vermeulen. And of course, interdisciplinary approach by Professor Yu Kojima. So I used those learnings in various platforms for free legal advice, in TV, live streams, radio, social media, legal aid activities. Of course, shout out to my FEUIL students, some of whom just finished their BJMP, Female Ward Dormitory Legal Aid activity this morning. And of course, inside the classroom, theoretical discussion. So the previous slides would show the never-ending and continuously evolving Friends and Global Network, who I'm still so in touch with today. And even more, now that we have our own families already. Now, coming back to Japan in 2024 with my family, my son who won gold medal in Taekwondo, it's like my journey has come full circle. More intentional, more purposeful, more for others, more ikigai. So thank you, UP College of Law, for this opportunity. Thank you, Kyushu University Institute for Asian and Oceanian Studies, Kyushu University Alumni Association of the Philippines, Manila Kyushu University Alumni, of course, the UP Law Center Institute for International Legal Studies, International Financial Law and Regulation Program, and of course, all dear fellow students who we hope we somehow inspired in today's talk. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Shabay. Wait. So we have 5 minutes
Yes.
any questions from our students vis-a-vis maybe yes, Mr. Reindez.
Hi, good afternoon, Professor.
Good afternoon.
Thank you for that wonderful talk. I was just wondering, as someone interested to work under the BSP and hopefully under the AMLA Council as a possible career opportunity, how have you applied your experience in comparative legal systems and analytical frameworks to our current legal structure? with the AMLA Council, like, have you applied the legal frameworks of other countries to our current legal structure?
Yes, if I may share, my study was about casino. Okay? It was very timely at the time I was writing my thesis. The Bangladesh heist took place. So it was really very challenging in the sense that my study would not just be scholarly or academic, but needed to have a practical impact to the amendments being proposed by the Anti-Money Laundering Council. So if you ask me, how did the comparative analytical framework affected my study, it was very useful, especially at the time when our government financial institution and even the private financial institution, the overall landscape of our trading international business sector was put at risk. So I had a chance to compare and contrast, and I was really thankful that there was this opportunity under the European Union Diploma Program to travel all the way to the three cities in Germany, Göttingen, Hanover, and Berlin, and to present before an international audience and see from their point of view how our legal framework in terms of money laundering meet the standards in terms of the internationally set best practices. So somehow, I think my thesis, because I furnished the AMLAC a copy of my thesis, and somehow I hope they got something from it. So it's very important that you see it from other legal jurisdictions' point of view. And studying in Kyushu really affords you that opportunity.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, another question. Hi. Could you speak more on how, in general, people applying for the LLM program should come up with their research topic, and how your experience as a Philippine lawyer influenced your own topic?
Cliche as it may sound, thank you for that wonderful question. Cliche as it may sound, there's a reason why you're seated there, why you're here in this hall, why you're listening to the series of talks. There's always a reason, perhaps because a takeaway from the neurological pathway or what seemingly appear to be too technical for you could be a source of a legal research topic. Because there's always a legal dimension to any topic or issue. You just have to call. You call from whatever topic that you are most passionate about. And in that regard, that I would highly suggest. Write about something over which you're so passionate about that you cannot sleep at night unless you write about it. It may be something aligned with your practice, perhaps your work prior to law school, when you're a working student, perhaps your current work, or your underbar exposure, or your current employment. At the time when I was applying, I was already separated from Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas. I just resigned and took on a full-time job at the Graduate Legal Studies Institute of the Ateneo Law School. So you would say that even if I've already separated from the Bangko Sentral, my ties with and my passion over the money laundering topic still affected my study plan. And yes, it did. And the main motivation at the time was really to give back and to contribute something that could be impactful to our financial institution. Did I answer your question? So something that you're so passionate about. And of course, the more important thing, that topic which you feel can contribute to the Philippines. Because when you get a scholarship and study abroad, you'll be surprised that the crucial consideration would always be how you will give back to your country. So it's really a mission. Any other questions? I hope I answered, Denise, your question.
Maybe
maybe one to add to Senpai's
Yes, please.
inputs. Thank you, Senpai. You said everything already, but what was really at least helpful is, that there are questions in law school that probably your professor did not answer, or you cannot answer. They are good starting points to lead you to the right direction. Oh, so any other question?
Okay, thank you very much for your wonderful presentation. I'm happy to know that the program in Kyushu University gave you a good impact for your career so far. And my question here is that LLM program in Kyushu University is one of the flagship program, and there should be lots and lots of alumni, not only from the Philippines but also from many other countries.
Yes.
So my question here is, do you have any regular gathering in your group or alumni in this program of the law people?
Good question.
Very, very good question. That is something that, yes, that is something that we lawyers cannot miss. We have several group chats, both professional, alumni, and personal. So the reason why I'm here is because Professor Ronald de Vera invited me through the group chat. Personally, we haven't met, only by virtual introduction. The good thing and what I like about the alumni of Kyushu is that you have an instant relative. You have an instant close friend, brother, sister. There's no more pleasantries, introductions needed. As long as you know each other to be alumni, like Professor Golda here. We met by chat group also, and I see her posts from all over the globe. So when we finally met in person, it's like we've been together like for so many years already. And when we welcome Pejovic Sensei in this very hall and had a further lecture in Cebu, it was really a wonderful time together with our family. So if you ask if we have a regular updating or a means of communication, we tap all the platforms in technology, so we have all the apps to continue communicating. And the good thing is that we do that for very productive projects, collaborations, networking, and also to be able to invite our students and interested potential scholars of Kyushu University within our respective networks and fields of practice.
Your alumni group here can have some chances to visit Kyushu University after graduation, or physically, not the virtually.
Yes, aside from the initiatives of the alumni, Nagao-san for one, and the rest of the team of the admin staff would still contact us by email, sending us invitation and regular updates on the activities going on in Kyudai. This time in Ito campus, because during my time it was in Hakozaki campus. So sadly, the building, the campus was demolished already, but the memories are all intact. But Nagao-san would regularly contact us. In fact, just recently, the Kyushu University held a talk, a symposium, and I think there's another round upcoming. So they reach out to us as well. And we really, really appreciate that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Professor.
May I also add, Professor, that so the program that we're in, that we graduated from, celebrated its 30th anniversary last year. So I think a majority of the alumni of the Kyushu University Faculty of Law, majority of us, we were there, and I think Kyushu University also invited the dean at the time. Now he is already, he became a judge of the International Criminal Court, Judge Raul Pangalangan. So Kyushu University also invited Judge Raul, and because it was under his term as dean that the program was approved at this vis-a-vis UPLaw. So we had him, we hosted him While we were there, Kyushu University also hosted us. I think during the program, the president of the university and other high-ranking officials were there to celebrate. So a majority of us were there. We are very, very, the faculty of law in particular, we are very, very close knit. And now, because of our final speaker for tonight, we have formally organized. He will elaborate on that when he does his closing. But we are, so our organization now extends, or at least our closeness have began to extend to other colleges as well, like medicine, architecture, design, and all of the other fields. And we in the law community are excited about it. So we also get together in small pockets of friendships. Yes. So hence the name Kyudai-fied. Siblings.
Yes, Kyudai-fied.
So I see
so,
that.
Well, just to emphasize the inter and multidisciplinary nature of the study of law. So that's why there's a very promising potential for collaboration there in this newly formed organization. Any other questions? I hope you're more or less thinking about it, no? Considering enrolling for LLM in Kyushu University. It's really fun. It's really fun. It's so insightful, exciting. There's ramen. The culture, the people, the place, the friendships that you will be able to create. Everything's just so beautiful. I think that wraps up. So thank you so much. Thank you very much. Good afternoon.
I thought that it was an elegant presentation on how institutions leave an imprint on not only one's professional DNA, but also one's personal DNA. So, on that note, our final speaker for tonight will close our session. He is the founding president of the Kyushu University Alumni Association of the Philippines. Please let us welcome also a graduate of the Kyushu University Faculty of Law, Attorney Ronald De Vera.
Koriwa wari dewanaku, arata na hajimari desu. This is not the end, but a new beginning. I now have the honor of thanking and congratulating those who made our very first Kyudai-fied Manila Forum a success. Our host, Kyushu University Institute for Asian and Oceanian Studies. Our supporters, Kyushu University Alumni Association of the Philippines. Manila Kyushu University Alumni. UP Law Center, Institute of International Legal Studies, International Financial Law and Regulation Program. Our endorsers, the Embassy of Japan in the Philippines, and of course, the University of the Philippines College of Law. And of course, to everyone who joined us today for this very special occasion, thank you. It is deeply meaningful for me to experience this first Kyudai Now Manila with all of you here at UP Law, the very institution where I first dreamed of studying at Kyushu University's Graduate School of Law. I clearly remember around this time of the year in 2004, standing just outside this Malcolm Hall, on a bulletin board was a notice inviting law graduates to apply for further studies at Kyudai. Though I was still a senior student and not graduated from UP Law, and have not even started my preparation for the bar exams, I already planned my life accordingly and decided that studying in Kyudai will be the path that I will like to take to broaden my horizons. I took that challenge. I spent 3 beautiful years in Fukuoka. And now, many years later, 12 years to be exact, I find myself standing here before you. Aside from my wife, Katarina, please stand up to be recognized. Also an alumni of this very great institution. What gives me the greatest joy is seeing from this very stage the many young attendees who came today to listen, learn, and be inspired by our generous and distinguished speakers. I would like to say to you, keep an open mind, learn something new every day, dare to dream, be bold. As we heard today, there's always something new to accomplish, to discover, to build, and to contribute. Things we can bring into our daily lives to make them more meaningful and more beautiful. Let us also continue building bridges between our beloved Philippines and Japan. There's so much our two cultures can learn from one another, and so much strength we can share with each other. Though this may sound like an admission against my own profession, I am convinced that the Philippines today needs fewer lawyers. Sorry to say that, everyone. And urgently needs more academicians, researchers, scientists, designers, engineers, agriculturists, and inventors like our gracious speakers today, especially from our state university, our beloved University of the Philippines. I hope that the stories and insights we heard today will inspire many of you to pursue those paths. It's never too late to follow a dream or even change your career directions. I strongly encourage you to consider Kyudai as part of your journey toward a life truly worth living. Broaden your network, look at the people around you now, or later at our dinner reception. Among them may be the connections that open doors to your next opportunity and to your next chapter. Minasama korewa karamo, Yoshiko onegai itashimasu. Thank you very much. Magandang gabi sa inyong lahat.
So thank you very much, Attorney Navarra. A fitting close to our first Kyudai Now Philippines. So as we come to the close of this afternoon's symposium, I take this opportunity to extend our sincere appreciation to all our speakers, our honored guests, partners, and participants. We hope that today's forum has given us a glimpse of Kyushu University's research, practice, and academic life. You can see that the campuses of Kyushu University is not only a school, but also a farm, a laboratory. You could even see the beach beyond. So, and these were shared here in Manila for the first time through this event. So we hope that, as Attorney De Vera mentioned earlier, this is not only a beginning, a starting point for deeper academic exchange and future cooperation between our institutions and communities. And so, on behalf of Kyushu University and the Kyushu University Alumni Association of the Philippines, thank you for being part of this inaugural forum. And we would like to invite everyone to proceed to the Atencio Libunao Hall for the dinner reception. We guarantee you are going to go home happy after the dinner. Arigatou gozaimasu. Thank you, everyone.